Down there, everyone.
Yes. Oh, I don't see so far away today.
Well, I don't know.
She had to go.
I had to go in the closet and get something, so well anyways. Ready? Easy. Call the Board of Parks and Recreation regular meeting for 11/19/24 to order. The first item is public input. Any public input from emails or no?
No.
Public input? Anyone? Possibly the little one in the purple jacket. Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of park board minutes for October 15th. Anyone have any questions or comments regarding the minutes?
No, I would motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Motion to approve and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it.
I apologize.
Oops,
So
that's all right.
oh, never mind. I thought it was another, I thought I saw an error, but in the minutes, but I don't. Never mind. All right,
No worries.
sorry.
The motion still passes.
Thank you. Sorry.
No worries. Next item, confirmation of vouchers. We have 3 separate ones. Anyone have any questions, comments? I looked through them. I didn't have any questions. Maybe someone else did.
Mm-mm.
No. Motion to approve the vouchers.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the 3 vouchers. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. We will move on now to Parks and Recreation Department report given to us by Mark.
Yeah, I'll highlight a few things. Community States Park, we've updated out there, so since we've had the grading swale done by the developer, we did the grading and got seeding done this fall, so it's a nice smooth area. It'll drain, it gives us the opportunity for any kind of future use, and it makes it easier for us to be out there on the mower, so we're not bouncing around and breaking the equipment, so that's been taken care of. The Pro Shop project, we're still waiting on electric. We did finally get the electric transformer put in. Now we're waiting on the meter to get there. I just got yesterday, the okay, they're actually going to allow our electricians to hook up power to the building, and they'll be billing us on an estimate, until they can get the actual meter in.
The meter's coming from NIPSCO.
The meter coming from NIPSCO, yes, what I'm hearing is that a lot of the equipment after the storms down in Florida, North Carolina, that a lot of stuff that they had in stock here was shipped down to there, so they're hoping that the meter will be in 2024 still, but we just want to get power on so we can turn heat on and get, because otherwise we're having to winterize those brand new buildings. Because we're worried about pipes and stuff. So,
Maybe Florida can ship some of their weather up here.
yeah, so, there is some good news there. We're still making progress on everything else, but that'll allow us to really jump into then our phones and our IT and our computers and getting everything that works and our, everything else ready for spring when we can have a ribbon coming up there, so. Bridges over ditches project, the council will be likely awarding that as one of their next meetings for that project. We did score proposals for the engineering, so that was submitted, and that'll be going before the council at one of their future meetings. The Westlake Park washroom project, I did meet with CSK Architects and got them some initial sizes, so they're gonna work on getting us some initial concept of a drawing, and then once we kind of see that, they can define a proposal, so nothing yet, everything, right now they're doing at no cost to us to kind of get us to that point of, getting the concept, and we've shared a lot of the details with them for that. On the recreation side, we're working on the winter spring recreation guide, that should be, going out first week of December, to the printer at that point. It'll probably be mid to late December when it starts hitting homes. Our part-time, Melissa, I don't know if any of you met her in the office, she did have to leave due to some family medical reasons, so she was the one dealing with us internally with a lot of our parking issues, so we miss her greatly. She actually did a great job for us, but we are looking for a part-time position to replace her now at this point. The facility rentals for the social center and shelters opened up November 1st. So we already have 11 social center rentals for next year and 4 shelter rentals. The Beaker Woods Night Walk went great. Almost 1,000 people came through the woods that evening on the event that was held with the Girl Scouts. The Holiday Arts and Craft Fair is coming up. We're full with 121 vendors. That will be over at the high school first weekend in December. Maintenance side of things, just kind of continuing mulching leaves in the parks, everything is getting winterized, drinking fountains, Caskey House, the bathroom downstairs at Caskey House, irrigation systems out at Centennial, out at West Lakes and all the ball fields at Community. So those have all been winterized for us over the year. The social center brick work was all tuck pointed. That building that had some issues with water coming in and deteriorating bricks on the outside. So that was completed here recently. Soccer goals were put away for the season. Now that those seasons are completed, the dugout fascia boards were all painted, primed and painted. The repairs to the Monon Trailhead, the pergola was painted, and there was repairs made to the stage, the big swivel backboard panels behind the stage, and restain those. So we're glad to get all that stuff done before the colder temperatures. As far as out at Centennial, we had some growth damage out there. In that report, we actually showed an area of about 2 acres of area. We did treat for them then at that point and went and overseeded those areas. So hopefully we have nice turf coming in back in next spring out at the park out there. The Arctic Engineering has started draining down the clubhouse boiler system, and Raft Fire's been doing the same with the fire suppression system. We're getting that ready for once we move golf staff out of there, that we can winterize that building, so we'll no longer have heat in the building as well. There was a bigger irrigation leak out behind the retaining wall out of Centennial that staff was out there able to find and cap. And they winterized their washrooms and that park as well. Centennial Golf, they had the good thing with the longer weather.
Before you move on to golf, you address the playground for you were gonna address that.
For Centennial,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yes, I have something.
All right, then I'll go to that.
Centennial, we have some equipment ordered, a couple of playgrounds. The Centennial repair equipment has been ordered, we just got it in this week. So we'll be working on that, maybe late this week or early next week, starting to repair the pieces out of the existing Centennial playground. The playgrounds were ordered for cobblestones and for Briar Creek Park. The cobblestone is supposed to be shipped out to us in mid-December, and the shipping date for the Briar Creek one is early enough January. So once those are in, those are being installed by as part of the purchase price for that. That'll be dependent on the weather, whether those are able to get done still this winter. Once they arrive, we'll have to see what weather has. If we're in freezing conditions, it'll be postponed to spring on those 2 playgrounds getting installed. Out at golf, the weather's allowed for some better golfing numbers over last year's numbers for the same month. There was a mistake in the original report that we sent out. The greens fees had 9,463, and it should have been 16,287. So we typoed in that in there incorrectly. So they've had some good numbers there holding out, and even this morning as I was out there, there's still people out golfing, so that was good to see. Other than that, the golf staff's doing a lot of their preparation and starting to move stuff up to the new building as well. The aeration, the greens were all aerated out of the golf course, and they're starting to close up and heal up out there. And they also did their irrigation on the golf course. They have about 5 miles of irrigation lines. Takes about a week to do all the irrigation out of Centennial, between the golf course and the park. But between our staff and the golf course staff, they really did all that stuff. Wrapped up for winter. That's it for the report.
Anybody have any questions? Oh, good. Thank you. We have the council liaison report here. Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much, Dan. I wanted to report here to the park board that the town council took a vote last night with respect to the clubhouse. And the decision from the council is that it needs to be taken down. So we're concurring with the parks, and I don't know if we probably need to get together, have a discussion as to how we're gonna do it. I would imagine we'll get an engineering firm to put the details, and then we'll go out for bids.
Otherwise this way. So you want us to do that? You want us to find it? I mean, it's, or are you gonna use the town engineer, which is SCH, right?
Right, that's pretty much what we do.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go through it. I mean, we'll leave that from our department. That'll be where it'll come out of. And then we'll have to, but as we mentioned, also, there's a couple other things that we gotta figure out with, relocating some of the utilities that go into that existing building before it can be fully demolished. So some might get some architecture, aspect into that as well.
Sure.
For a utility building, and then, of course, we'll have to work with the clerk's office and the town manager to, figure out the funding for it as well, so,
Funding.
yes.
I thought you had an account for that.
Right, I'm a big sale.
But yes, you're right, but the council did, concur with what your recommendation was, and, there we go.
So Mark, you're gonna talk to SCH, get the plans together.
Yeah, we'll start that conversation.
Great. All right, is that all?
That's all I have.
Great news. I guess, all things considering. Next is the items for discussion or action. It's the A, which is Centennial parking recommendations.
I think you've heard us a lot over the years. We've talked about, since we've had this, we completed the third season of parking. From the onset, we allowed every Munster household to register up to 2 vehicles per year for free, so they could enter the park in those vehicles without having to pay anything to park. A lot of residents have informed us that they have more than 2 vehicles. I think you've heard some of that same comments, or even experienced that individually yourselves. And just as a way to try to reduce or decrease the number of calls to our office, we would ask and recommend a motion to allow Munster residents to register up to 4 vehicles per household, beginning with next season and beyond. So, and see if that tilts the scales enough to satisfy all of our residents.
Not likely, but it's worth a try. I like the idea.
I do too.
I don't have a ability to make a motion though, so.
I would agree, and I think it'll make more of the folks happy. And there's always the exception and outlier, but, the office gals probably know better how many, but 4 at least is another 2 tickets that they can get without any, resistance.
And I bring this to you at this time of year, just to, if assuming you would want to approve this, that to give enough leeway time to the parking management companies on their website, so they can get it updated and ready for March 1st, when we allow people to register for next.
Mark, maybe this is a technical question. I guess I just didn't know there was an issue. So if I live at 123, whatever, Main Street, I never can register 2 cars.
Correct.
And my kid,
Your household address, 2 cars.
oh,
So it's per household. So this is taking it from 2 to 4 now. So it's not per person, it's per address.
got it.
For residential units, and it's only residential too as well, just to make sure, because that was something we discussed at the onset as well, because it's for residential units.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I really have a good motion.
Yes, motion to approve Centennial Park recommendation.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to change the parking regulations. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Next item is the Hubinger landscape change order
Yes,
for,
so this is, we previously approved the contract with Hubinger for landscaping out at the golf course for $148,100. During construction, we did find it necessary to make a few changes, for safety, for, just for the benefit of the project, drainage, long-term maintenance, and, we had those that under my authorization to be able to achieve those, so we did two of them. One was 9/6, we added some stone, outcropping stones, removed some topsoil, installing stone at the top of the retaining wall. And then the second one was some sod, river rock, and relocating plants. And together, these total up to an additional $15,340. So we're recommending the confirmation of these change orders, because these were already submitted and approved, based upon my advice, but or my direction, but, for the record, we need to have that, you as the board, collectively confirming those change orders for us.
all right,
The new contract total would be $163,440.
Page number 8. I lost to approve change order number.
Wait, that's the next one. This is the Hubinger.
this is just
I
Hubinger,
clicked on the wrong one, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Bill. I just want to clarify. This is the Hubinger landscaping.
for 15,340, confirm the changes that have been made already.
One for 163,440. I will motion to approve the change, adding $15,340 to the original.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Approve the change order.
Now we're on to change order number 8 for the pro shop. There were 3 different parts of this. We had, one was to provide additional fencing and gates that we had asked them of. Part of that is at the top of the retaining wall. It gets very close where we had ended them originally. We wanted to extend it and have that safety. So this is the path that as you come to the top of the stairs, if you walk that path going back to the pro shop, there's about 40 feet more that we want to extend it there. So someone doesn't accidentally fall off the retaining wall, if you will, there. We also did some small changing to when we did the additional pad to stage the golf carts next to the shelter area. That created some additional fencing as well, just because we were wrapping around a larger area there. There was a credit in, as part of this change order, which was they installed the wrong flooring and wall tile. They actually flip-flopped the colors on us. We didn't want to make them rip it all up, have delays getting the product, and that would have delayed everything else in there. So in the middle of it, they offered a credit and we accepted that. So they flip-flop. There's basically black and white tiles out there. If they flip-flop them, we'll live with that. It's not gonna, it wasn't a deal breaker for us on that. And then also our pressure on the water service was very minimal. So we had to add 2 booster pumps, one in each building to make sure we have enough pressure to force it through. Today, even just as an example, we turned on the faucet in the cart storage barn. No water was coming out. It was all open up. We took the screen off, the hose bib, and water started coming out. There was that little of pressure. So these booster pumps, when we have power, will absorb and pull more power into these facilities with each of these buildings. So those were unfortunately a necessary change to our project. So ultimately, this change order number 8 is an additional add of $26,578.30 to the overall contract. And we bring this today with a recommendation for approval.
I mean, we're getting towards the end. Do you project out any more change orders?
I think this is gonna be the final one.
And besides, if we have them build the utility building when we do the demolition, but besides that,
Right. Yeah, but that would be a separate whole contract. We believe this will be the last one. Once we get power turned on and verify and everything's working, I think that for the most part, even their punch list on construction, they've already been updating and knocking out a lot of those things before we get power, but that'll be the last hang up that we have out there, if that generates anything, but I don't suspect that it will. Everything that we're gonna be verifying is stuff that's already in the contract. These were things that were noticed along the way and getting to that finish line of being able to be real.
so the meter is really holding up the move.
It is at this point, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a motion or Any more questions? I went out of term. No.
I now I'll motion to change order 8.
There you go.
I'll second it.
The motion and seconded to approve change order 8. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Moving on to D, 2025 landscape maintenance agreement.
So our current landscape maintenance agreement with Great Lakes Landscape Management, this is for, they do our landscape maintenance out of Centennial Park, Community Park, West Lakes, and John Friend Parks. They've had that contract for the last, actually more than 5 years, but the last time we put it out for proposals, it was a 3-year contract for 23, 23, and 24 seasons. At an annual cost of $99,548.60. They have shared with us that they will not increase that, and they would hold that price for us for next year. I think that's a good deal for us, an opportunity to continue with the same company, that they're familiar with all these sites, and to get that same price, based upon our budget numbers is an acceptable, to us, and we bring that to you for recommendation to extend that contract for another year with them. The anticipation is that by this time next year, we'll be putting out a new RFP to have anybody bid on it, if you will, for, because, well, we did have this in the original proposal last time that we could extend it if both parties were willing, if they, were willing to hold that same price.
Any discussion or a motion for the landscape maintenance agreement? Exciting stuff. We're taking notes out there in the audience.
This is also one that has, the reason we also have to bring, well, obviously, it's a lump sum, but because these get drawn down monthly with monthly invoices, we have to have an approved contract by the board to pay each one of those, so that's why this comes to you rather than just doing a lump sum payment to them, but, just for your familiarity with that.
Motion to approve the landscape maintenance agreement extension.
Motion made, seconded. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. And those opposed say aye. No one say aye. Motion approved unanimously. Part-time salary.
There's a resolution 2024-07, which spells this all out for us. These are actually the same exact rules. There's no changes to this from what we approved for this year. This is something that we bring to you to approve those salary and wages for all of our part-time employees in our department. Pending your approval, it then gets sent to the town council and gets included as part of their overall salary ordinance, which they did last night, had a first reading on that has these current fees in it, and then they'll have their second reading at the next meeting on it, but there's no changes to it, so I would ask though, just so I have that on file, that, we have an approval here, so we ask for your motion to approve resolution 2024-07.
I see our minimums are up too. That was from last year, correct?
Yeah, these were all the same figures from last year that were approved a year ago.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve resolution 2024-07 for the salaries for part-time workers. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. We're gonna go move on to NIPSCO. Maybe we should have bartered with them.
Yeah, I think they're a big enough, where there's enough separation at the company, but this is,
Probably.
there's 3 properties that they're seeking from the town to get easements additions on. This is something that Attorney Westland reviewed and said that these are good, but, the one that is in the park board's name is for Evergreen Park, and there was a small little map in there. It's about it's a small area that continues, it's 28 feet by 15 feet as part of the park. So it's basically for where their pole is, and actually, really, it's gonna be mainly for their guy wires that hold the pole down. And they wanted to have that formal easement. In return for that, they're gonna be paying us $1,000 for each of these 3 easements. So, we do recommend that approval of this easement for the electric facilities as presented by NIPSCO to us.
For clarification, those poles are already there, correct?
There's current poles already there. They are gonna be replacing them with a little bit, with newer poles, and my understanding is they're thicker than the current ones that are out there. So that's why they needed the stronger guy wires to go a further distance to make sure that's why they're asking for the addition in that area.
And those wires will be on these.
The wires are on
They
the,
got,
in that, it would be within that easement area, yes. Both the guy wires and the wires to the.
right, I'm just trying to say they're not new,
Yeah.
they're just going to replace them.
Replacing,
And
yes.
they're adding the formal easement.
Correct, yes, this is part of their overall infrastructure ongoing improvement that they.
Understood.
So rare occasion, we're getting money from NIPSCO, so we should take advantage.
Take advantage, yes.
I'll motion to approve the easement for electric.
Motion made and seconded to grant the easement to NIPSCO. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And those opposed, ayes have it. Run to the bank with that check. Last item, golf cart purchases.
So our current fleet, we called for our current fleet of golf carts to be replaced in 2025. This was included in our 2024 GO bond, and budgeted at $300,000 there. We have, through our buy board contract that, you recently approved in a previous meeting, we have a price from Yamaha to get our, which includes the purchase of these new units, a trade-in credit for our existing fleet, and maintenance on these units for 5 years at a total cost of $271,640. So, this was in our area where we anticipated. It was our plan to move forward, and, we bring it to you with a recommendation for approval of this, to buy this through the buy board contract. And, your approval, these would be ordered right away and likely be in this spring, by the time we get our place in line.
So again, just clarification, this is under budget, 300,000 was what we budgeted, 271,640, right?
Correct,
Correct.
yes.
Thank you.
It's money. And these are also basically the equivalent of the current parts that we have. There's a nice addition they've added across their board. They've added USB ports, all their cards. Kind of a nice little thing. So for those of us who have our phones out when we're golfing, you can sort that.
CarPlay per se, like CarPlay, those stuff.
No, but it's just a port for you, George. So you just gotta put your own charger plug, so you can charge your phone if you will.
We'll play music if you like. Or we're looking for a motion to approve it and we'll talk about it. Or we can sit here. They all have school to go to in the morning.
Motion to approve the replacement golf cart. purchase.
It's been moved and seconded. Despite Mike not making the motion. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and those opposed, ayes have it. So with that, we have nothing else further. I'll take a motion to adjourn before our next meeting on December 17th. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
There you go.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to vote, adjourn,
Have a second.
and second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
28 minutes.
Okay.
I